On the map image that you're seeing right now is an item that's located in the woods with a small clearing around it. Looks like over time, nature has reclaimed this area and that no one's been there for several decades. What's even more bizarre though, is that there's no visible access to this location. It is rather remote. I don't know if it's an old home site, a farm, or something completely different. What I do know though, is I am determined to find it. And for us to get there, well, we have to traverse through the snowy, wooded area for over a mile. If you're curious as to what I come across today, all you need to do is continue watching and come along with me. I do know that I'm the only person back here as of recent because the only tracks I see are animal tracks. Now there's a roadway you may hear in the background that is behind me. That's basically where we came from, but we are working our way inwards away from that, so it should get quieter the further we go along. Well, I ventured in not too far and ended up meeting up with a trail. And along this trail, look what I found. Telephone pole with insulators. I see some bluish green ones and some clear ones. And I don't know, I'll have to do a little bit of research. This looks like an old rail bed. I don't think it is though. Might just be a coincidence. But what I can tell you though, is down there to the right is an active rail line, which did show up on the earlier maps I showed you. So that is down there. And hopefully at some point we could cross over because we need to get to the other side where it's even more remote and further away from everything else. Well, things are going, I guess you could say, okay, not great. The reason I say that is because ideally, I needed to cross the tracks much sooner. I'm basically pretty far past the location right now. I'll show you my position on Google Maps, and I'm far past it. The reason why though is because there's a big drop off down to the tracks. Based on the snowy, slippery conditions, definitely not feasible to try to scale down and climb up a steep embankment. So I had to walk past, and as you could probably tell, we are going downhill a bit here, which means the terrain is flattening out, and I could cross the tracks down here and get up on the other side. The only bad part is that now I have to backtrack several hundred yards to the other side. So I have more work cut off me than I intended. I didn't realize the landscape was like this, but with that being said, I am determined. And without any certainty, based on its remoteness, I'm fairly confident we're going to find something there. Hopefully, it's something we could explore. Hopefully, it's not dangerous, but that's yet to be determined. Let's keep moving because we actually only have about less than 3 hours of daylight left. I don't want to get stuck out here in the dark. Another insulator pole laying on the ground here. They've all been stripped. All that's left is what looks to be cork that they were screwed onto. Found my clearing, safely across the tracks, and no surprise, we have to climb uphill. This is definitely going to give me a good workout. Not only for the steepness, but for the snow-covered ground. So I'm going to catch my breath, make my way up there, and I'm actually noticing something man-made right in front of me. Let me see if I can zoom in. There is 3 pieces of something right there leaning against each other. Let me get up there and see what that is. I just spotted that out of the corner of my eye. What the heck is this? These are 3, actually 4 concrete posts That one's standing by itself. And the two are leaning against the middle one here. Why would it be like this? It does appear they're toppled over, but what are the chances they're just leaning perfectly against that middle post? I don't know if it's sliding down. Like I said, slippery. I don't know if this is like an old marker system. It's actually barbed wire around the base of it there. I don't know if this is, I honestly don't know what it is. I can't even really speculate other than just like a marker system. Yeah, I'm stumped. And it's only that far away from the train tracks, less than 50 yards. Actually, wait a minute here. I thought I was looking at trees. These are posts. This looks like an old fence. And that looks like a hole. Is that a hole? Let's shine a flashlight down there. No, it doesn't go in anywhere. This did for a minute, looked kind of, I gotta watch my footing here, looked kind of dug out. And I believe this is an old fencing system that had barbed wire around it. And they're going clear through the forest here. In perfect line. And I'm surprised they're all made out of concrete. Traditionally, it's wood. These might be leading directly to the location that we're headed to. It might be a property boundary. Could have been for keeping cattle or farm animals in. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna check myself on GPS pretty soon. This should be taking us right towards it though. And I'll update you a little bit further down, but this is definitely interesting. Not something I expected to see in the middle of the woods. And here is another one. This is deliberate. It's not coincidence that they're just laying against the post like that. Pretty certain they were placed like that. It does resemble like you'd see on a farm fence where they're kind of crossing each other. This one's barely hanging on. I was sitting on top of one of the fence posts, and I'm going to check where I am now. We are getting closer, but still a good distance away. If this is indeed fencing for that property, then this is far away. I mean, this is several hundred yards away. Not to say that can't be possible, but I'm thinking maybe this is an old farm site. For this amount of property to have a fencing all the way back here, that's the only thing that comes to mind. But if we keep following these posts, it is basically taking us right towards it. And from what I could tell, there should be more than one structure there. Going back on the Google Earth timeline, starting back in the 90s, you could see the property is there, although it's a grainy image, but a bit more cleared out. And it looks like as we progress forward to more modern day, looks like the area has been cleared a few times. And then other times nature is reclaiming and regrowing around it, but there's still no clear direct access to this location, unless by all-terrain vehicle or something like that, but there's no road that I could see. But what I may do, since I actually have service out here, when I get closer, I may pull up one of the older maps and see if that gives me any details or clues as to what we are encountering. Still following the post, and I do have an update, and it's not a good one. This area is posted, and heavily posted. There are multiple signs. And the frustrating part is I'm so close. I could see a structure back there through the tree line, but I also see multiple posted signs. And these are new, fresh signs. And there's purple paint, which is also for private property, no trespassing. And I'm not gonna be surprised if there's trail cams out here. And I knew this was a possibility, and it came in a way that was just easiest to access. But I guess they anticipated people maybe coming the same way I did. And I'm gonna be respectful. I'm not gonna go any further. Ah, boy, that's a bummer. Not all is lost though, because I actually have a possible bonus location I found on the same map that I'm gonna show you, not too far away. And I think I have an idea what it is. It's actually one of two things, but one looks like it's easier to get to than the other. Before I tell you about that, I was able to pull up on my phone the older 1900s maps. I found one from 1939 showing this location. And it appears back then, not only was it an active site, but there was a road going to it off of a active road today. Looks like that road is long gone, long overgrown. So unless there's like a gated trail that takes you back here, I didn't see any direct access. It still seems very inaccessible. Obviously, it's not. Someone is actively checking on this site, and without getting any closer, based on what I could see, the fence posts here and the aerial images, I think this is an old farm where at one time someone did live here as well. But whether family member died off or whatever could be happened, that it's no longer an active farm that I know of. It does look like nature has been reclaiming it, but it does kind of make sense why the area does look like it's been maintained around it, not the structures itself. So someone is checking on this place, and as much as I want to go, and honestly I could have just said, you know what, I'm going to ignore the signs, I'm just going to keep going. It doesn't feel right. It is someone's property. If they're taking the effort to post it, I'm going to respect that. So I need to basically backtrack all that I covered, which is not going to be fun. But not too far from here, I'm going to show you on a couple different images, there are two structures in a field. And they're spaced apart, I think over 100 yards, give or take some. And it looks like they're open. Now at first glance, based on what I saw, I think I know what they are. When we start heading over there, I'm going to tell you what they are, what I think they are, and we'll see if we're right. That's if we can actually get close to them. If that area's posted, well, that's just the luck of the draw and the way things goes. The way things go. So without boring you guys to death, I'm going to stop here, retrace my steps, get back to my vehicle, find a parking spot closer to that particular item, and we'll see how far we could go on foot from there. So for me, it's gonna be over 30 minutes. For you, just a few seconds. Welcome back. So I am in a new location now, and what you can see behind me here is a type of trail, and it's really padded down with animal tracks. Don't see any human footprints, so we should be the only ones headed there. So before we do get there, I do want to tell you what I think it is. And it may actually end up being disappointing if it is indeed that. I did see a picture of them once before. I didn't do any research ahead of time because I want this to be kind of spontaneous, real, and in the moment. But I have seen a picture or two in the past of a similar looking structure. And basically what it is, it's a rectangle shaped structure, open on top, maybe with some screening or some vents. And basically what that is, I believe, are vents to a tunnel that runs underneath it. So when trains do run through, or at least back in the day, the steam trains, the plumes of smoke and ash and everything that would shoot up, well, it would take a long time to expel out of the tunnels. So a lot of tunnels do have vent systems. We did see two of them, and both of them appear to be directly over the rail line. So there should be a tunnel somewhere beneath us here, and if we walk in that direction, we should come to one of those two structures, which I am presumably saying is a tunnel vent. If that is the case, I don't know if we're going to be able to see anything at all, because it might be a tall wall or it might be sealed up. I do have my 7-foot pole with me as a last ditch measure to try to get some type of footage from the top. I don't have my drone with me, so we're gonna have to just kind of take it as it comes, see what happens, and make the best of it. So I'm gonna grab my bag, grab you guys, and if we follow this for just I think 150 yards, we should be there. You're coming, right? All right, come on. Pretty featureless back here. Looks like this might be a somewhat used ATV off-road trail. Now it's more or less a game trail. And we have a trail block. Guess we'll just follow the animal tracks, go right around it. They always take the path of least resistance, so we'll do the same. And just like that, we have arrived. And I do see a door. Funny thing is that this is just sitting in the middle of the woods. And there's nothing really surrounding it except woods. But there is an identical one of these further down, I think another 50 to 100 yards, maybe even further. I think it's going to be too tall for my 7-foot pole. The walls look to be, geez, probably 15 feet tall. But we're not the first ones here. There's some tagging on the building. And it also means that the tunnel is directly underneath this. So we'll do a perimeter check. Walk around the entire thing. Like I said, there is a door, but I don't think it's going to be open. There would be a better chance of it being open if this was an abandoned rail line, which it's not. So coming down here, the base of it, that's a good sized structure. Like usual, here's your look at this building compared to me. So standing here in front of it, I think about 15 feet is a good accurate height. Lengthwise, this is lengthwise. I'd say 30 to 40 feet. Solid concrete, it's almost like a bunker. But showing you what we see from the aerial images, it should be open on top. Maybe we'll get lucky and be able to get some type of access, but this might be as much as we're going to see. But let's continue walking around and check out the rest of it. Now, the thing I am noticing also is that this building, this structure is not posted. Maybe because it's just not accessible. There's not really much that could happen to it. I'm just showing you the landscape around it here. Looks like a little dried up creek bed here. Some mounds of material. But for the most part, featureless, just tree growth. Some old graffiti, it's kind of faded. The only thing that's been around here are animals. That's all there are tracks around the whole entire thing. You can see some of the rebar. And, you know what, I thought that was a little opening. There might be one on the other side. If that's the case, I may be able to stick you guys through there on my extendable pole here. We may just be able to get a look inside. That one is plugged up with snow and ice. We'll see if there's others. So there's another creek bed, which is joining up with the one I just showed you, and then like a more main one here. Not that this has anything to do with what we're checking out, but just to show you the landscape, in case those who are curious. There's another little opening here, but again, plugged up with some snow. I may be able to get a stick and clear it out. That might be doable. Oh, bullseye. So the door is more or less a steel plate, and there is a stencil spray painted no trespassing sign, but an old one. It says no trespassing, D&H Railway Company. That's from long ago. There's also another one that's more faded out. But that's pretty neat though. That's dating it back to a good long time ago. All those little square openings around it, I'm really intrigued if we could get access through one of them. I think this is welded on here. They have bolts and the bolts are welded. Let's check out this corner. I didn't check it when we first came here to see if that opening looks feasible. Oh, picker bushes. Yeah, this one, they're all the same. We're gonna go to the other side because I don't want to mess with these thorns here. I dealt with them enough today. I'm gonna grab a stick, try to clear out the opening, and we'll see if we could stick you guys through there and get some visuals. I see graffiti inside. So what it looks like is like a ledge that continues out for about a foot or 15 inches, and then I think it drops. I'm trying to just clear it out. Now, the thing I just thought of, which I don't know if it's gonna work, the camera I'm using, the Pocket 3, if I link that up to Bluetooth on my phone, I should be able to control the camera remotely, which means if I stick it in here, that sounded bad. If I stick the camera in here, I could leave it there and hopefully use the screen of my phone to move it around to pan and tilt and show you what it looks like. In theory, that should work. We're gonna test that out. Plan B, if that doesn't work, is I have my action camera, yeah, it's still there, which does go up to the 7-foot pole. Although I can't pan and tilt with that, I can at least stick it in through there and rotate the pole to give different angles with the camera. So one way or the other, I'm gonna try to give you some visuals on the inside. Let me do a little bit of testing and we'll see what we can do. All right, so right now you're watching me on my Osmo Action 3. I was able to pair my phone with the Pocket 3 right here. So in essence, I should be able to fit the camera through the hole. I'll extend this out a good ways past that ledge, and then using the phone as my monitor, I could see what you guys see, and I can also tilt and pan, and even I believe zoom. I honestly don't know how much is going to be visible, but this is all I can really do given the location and the equipment I have on hand. So let's see what happens. Okay, I'm connected now. I can watch what the camera is seeing, and this should work now. I'm actually going to start recording now, because you guys can be able to see the insides here as we make our way through. I got a little bit of snow on the screen. This is disappointing. So I thought this was going to drop down. There's a wall to the left. And I'm sorry if I'm shouting, I'm just bent over right by the microphone. There's a wall to the left. Opening is down there. And I got snow on the screen. I thought there was graffiti inside. I think that's just the inside of the door there. What a bummer. Well, my plan worked. It's just that the inside is not how I thought it was. I thought there was an opening going off to a drop-off. I couldn't see beyond the snow. There is a wall dividing the openness or the pit. I thought we were like, yes, finally got some access. Oh well, we tried. Sun's going down, getting cold out. I'm starting to get cold since I'm not really moving around as much. I am pretty bummed about, not really about not getting inside because I know we can't go inside, but about my little camera method of trying to get it in there and look around and look down. Although I did accomplish my goal, we saw nothing but concrete and snow. So that was disappointing. The one thing I do want to mention is why I decided to make this video. Well, let me retract that statement. Why I decided to publish this video, since it was kind of a fail, so to speak. In a perfect world, all my adventures and video journeys would be phenomenal. You know, the best of the best. No problems getting access to them, not getting my clothing ripped up by thorns, getting dirty and cold. You get the picture. That's not the case. That's not realism. That's not real world. Today was a prime example is that not everything goes according to plan. Sometimes things do not work in your favor and are partially a fail. And that's why I decided to keep everything in this video to show you, hey, although this is what my plan was, it didn't come to fruition. And this is part of being a content creator. I put in a lot of time today, a lot of footsteps, and expended a lot of energy to get to these locations today, as well as other locations I filmed earlier today. Would I have loved to see that farm site up close? Absolutely. I know there was a barn structure there, possibly a house, who knows what else. But knowing that someone posted fresh posted signs and has purple paint there, I wouldn't feel right going any further than what I did. Although there's a very good chance I could have got away with it. No one would have seen me. No one would have known the difference. My own conscience, I wouldn't feel good about it. Now, if they were really old, dilapidated, fallen down signs, that's a different story. Those signs were put on within the last few months. Since that didn't work out though, I did have a plan B, which is this. And this I knew was going to be iffy if it's even worthy coming to check out. I had my suspicions as to what it was, and I confirmed it is a vent for a train tunnel beneath us. We can't see nothing more than just a concrete structure, and from what we can see on the aerial maps. But again, that's how it goes. You take the good with the bad, although it is partially a fail. I don't feel like we failed today because we did find both locations and we're able to get pretty close to the first one and on site of this one, and did our best to try to show you outside and partially inside. With that being said, thank you so much for coming along for this Google Finds, actually Google Earth adventure, because this one was found on Google Earth, both locations. Google Earth is a great tool. If you haven't used it, especially on a desktop version, there's so much information you could do on there as far as going back on timelines to the 1990s to show you how things progress over time to modern day. You could also measure things on there. You could also make little videos, like where I zoom in on a particular location and then move. That's all done through Google Earth on the desktop platform, and it's completely free to use. And there's also tutorials out there teaching you how to use it as well. So if you're curious about how I do get my map images and fly around parts of the world on satellite images, it is courtesy of Google Earth. Shameless plug, but just wanted to share that information with you. But anyways, thanks once again for watching, for coming along, and for joining me on this not so successful Google Earth journey. But I'm happy we did what we did, and we're gonna be on to the next one. Take care, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. out just in time. Got about an hour or less of daylight. And just a quick question for those who stuck around for this portion of the video. How many of you are sick of winter? Honestly, despite it being one of the coldest winters we've had in years, I'm not sick of it. I'm enjoying it. But I also know I'm looking forward to warmer temperatures, springtime with the opening season of Knoebel's, my favorite park, and getting into some more underwater adventures, being the Pisces that I am. So let me know, are you enjoying the winter, the cold, the snow, or that's thorny. Are you ready for some more spring-like weather? Just wanted to throw that in there, just a thought that crossed my head as I'm walking back through the snowy terrain when it's in the 20s out. I'm ready to warm up. Thanks once again, everyone. See you in the next video.